Now next we see another important measure of angle, that is called as a radian measure. Here is the definition of 1 radian angle. Now as shown in the figure, if you consider a circle of radius say r, and on the circle consider an arc which is of length same as the radius of the circle. Now in this case, the angle which is subtended at the center by this arc which has the length same as the radius of the circle, that angle is defined as 1 radian. Alright, so that is how the 1 radian angle is defined. Now if we actually calculate how many radians would be required to cover the whole circle, so it will be something like this, like 1 radian, which will be, as you can observe, if it were an equilateral triangle, right, in that case the angle of the triangle would have been 60 degrees. But since the arc has definitely a length bigger than the side of this particular triangle, which is a chord, so therefore clearly if we consider 1 radian angle, then definitely that has to be less than 60 degrees, and 1 radian is approximately equal to 57.1 degree. That is just an approximate value, so that we get an idea of how big the angle of 1 radian is. So therefore if we consider calculating the number of radians that are required to cover one full circle, so here we have first radian, second radian, third radian, then here we have fourth radian, fifth radian, and sixth radian full. And if you see, a small portion remains at the end, so that portion is roughly equal to 0.28 radians. So therefore you have 6 plus 0.28 radians, that gives us 6.28 radians. Of course that is just an approximate value. If you observe, this can be written as 2 into 3.14 radians, and clearly 3.14 is an approximation of pi, so we have basically 2 pi radians which are equivalent to one full circle. That means it corresponds to 360 degrees. So therefore by cancelling the factor of 2, we have 180 degrees which are equivalent to pi radians. So that is a relation between radians and degrees. So just to recap once again, by 1 radian of an angle we mean the angle subtended at the center of a circle by an arc of the length same as the radius of the circle is defined as 1 radian. 1 radian is a little less than 60 degrees, and it takes around 6.28 radians, that is 2 pi radians, to cover one full circle. So now we'll see how to convert the degree measure into radian or radian into degree. As we have seen, 2 pi radians are equivalent to 360 degrees. So therefore we have 1 radian equal to 180 upon pi degrees. On the other hand, we can also write 1 degree is equal to, or it's equivalent to, pi by 180, that much radians. So these are the formulae that we use to convert the measures of angles from degrees to radians or vice versa. Right. So let us practice converting these measures, because we'll be frequently using both of the measures in the sums. Now here are some standard angles which are shown in this figure. Like we can see the multiples of 30, that is 30, 60, 90, 120 and so on. Similarly we also have the multiples of 45, that is 45 degrees, 90, 135 and so on. Now if you see, the radian measures as well as the degree measures of all these angles are mentioned here. Now just as an example, like from where we get 30 degrees is equal to pi by 6 radians. So that is clearly from the formula that we have seen. So 30 degrees are nothing but 30 degrees into pi upon 180. So that was the conversion formula for converting degrees into radians. So therefore when we do 30 into pi upon 180, you see 30 will cancel out with 180 and thereby leaving 6 in the denominator. So that is where we get pi by 6 as the radian equivalent measure of 30 degrees. So we should practice knowing the radian measures of all these standard angles perfectly because we need to use them often. Let us solve few examples. The first is to express 5 pi by 12 radians into degrees. So as we know, 5 pi by 12 radians is nothing but 5 pi by 12 into, to convert radian to degrees, we have to multiply by 180 by pi, right? These many degrees. So you see clearly pi will cancel. 12 will cancel with 18 leaving 15. So 5 into 15 gives us 75 degrees. Now let's see the other way around, that is express minus 108 degrees into radians. So here minus 108 degrees is equal to minus 108 into pi by 180, these many radians. Now you see 36 can divide 108 as well as 180 by 3 and 5 respectively. So finally we get minus 3 pi by 5 radians. That's the answer.